Hello guys, good evening. Welcome back to the new learning session of D365 Finance and Operation. Today basically we are going to discuss about the new feature that Microsoft has released, and this was previously available onto the customer side, and now they have released it for the supplier side also, which we call it as the vendor recurring invoices. What this vendor recurring invoices is, basically consider yourself being a customer of a telecommunication company. This is basically the use case that we will discuss in this recent example right now, that you are a user of a telecommunication services and your telecommunication provider will give you the same invoice every month because you have the contract for the entire month and entire year, and you will receive the same invoice every month. So your finance people, or the person, you can say the accounts payable clerk, he needs to create the same invoice again and again onto the monthly basis. So with the help of this feature, you can create the invoices on recurring basis, not only for one supplier, not only for a couple of them, but you can create it as much as you can. Having said that, there are four prerequisites, you can say, to enable this feature, or you can say to use this feature. The first one is enabling the feature with the name of enabling AP invoices, or enable recurring invoices, which is for accounts payable. To do this, how to do this, that we will see a little later. Then after this, as soon as you enable the feature, you will be able to see this feature under accounts payable module, and then you need to set up the number sequence for that, so that system will know what will be your recurrence ID. After this, you need to create a template, which we will discuss how to create it, what are the features of that template, and then obviously you need to assign that template to a supplier or a set of supplier to whom you want to assign to. So this is basically the process or the prerequisite for this particular feature is, and after this there is a complete process that you need to create a template first, assign that template to the supplier, and then generate the invoices for this recurring feature. Now let's hit the road and see how it reflect onto the system side. And the first prerequisite, if you remember, we said that it has to be under your system administration, feature management, and under feature management I will go under all and say enable, and I will just put the contains filter here with the module filter of accounts payable. So you can see this is the feature that we are talking about right now. So this is already been enabled here, and you can see that it is under accounts payable module. Now if I go now onto my accounts payable module and see my invoices, there is a new section called recurring invoices. If I click on this recurring invoices, and if you remember correctly, the second step that we need to do is we need to create the template, or first we need to basically create the number sequence for it that we have already done. So just to see this, we'll go under setup and accounts payable parameters. Under the number sequences, if I just scroll down to the last, this is the recurrence ID and the number sequence that we have generated from the system itself. We don't have to just worry much of it. Then the third one, as we discuss or as we speak right now, under invoices, we'll go under recurring invoices and create the vendor invoice template. Here I already have one created, but for this example we'll create the new one. So I will create new, let's say telecom contract, for example. Then under the posting profile, I will just select the default or the general profile that we have. The currency you need to select, or whatever currency that you are dealing in. Terms of payment, let's say I will select it as cash, or let's go with net 30 days. Method of payment, if it is check, cash, electronic transfer, or anything that you can select from here. Any financial dimensions if you want to specify whenever the invoice is created, so you can do it from here. Otherwise it will come from your supplier financial dimension. Also you can create your template also if you want to break it into 2 or 3 with the help of the percentage, like the amount, if you want to do the breakage of the amount, that we are not going to discuss basically in today's session. And then we have the normal lines. In these lines we can mention that for what item, and to be honest this is basically working on item and procurement category both. So you can either select an item or you can select the procurement category with the description, and then you can put the quantity and amount. So with the help of this, system will create the invoice for you. For this one I will say monthly subscription payment. If there is any taxation associated to it, I will say let's say 5% all. And if I have any item created for this, so I will select that item. Otherwise you can select the procurement category also, so it works on both sides. For this one I will select the item which is let me see if it is, for instance, this item. The category is associated with this, so it will reflect here. The unit, I will say it's each, one quantity, and the price is 250, which is $250. If you want to add more, you can add more. Maybe you have multiple packages, maybe you have one for the calling, one for the data, and one for something else. So it's completely up to you. You can create as much as lines you want, and then you can say save. If you rightly say, and if you right away wants to see that what are the assigned vendors for this particular template, you can see it from here. Currently we don't have any supplier which is assigned to this particular template, so the record is showing as none. Now to assign this template to a supplier, you need to go into your accounts payable module, vendors, and all vendors, and we will take one vendor as an example, which is this one. And under invoices you can go under setup with recurring invoices. When I click on this recurring invoices, here I need to assign by saying that yes, this is active, and the template that we are going to assign, so that we have the linkage between the supplier or the vendor with the template that we have just created. Then the billing start date, from what date you want to start the billing. For instance, right now I'm selecting 1st of January. If you want to end it for some specific date, let's say 31st of December this year, so you can put the date. Otherwise you can leave it as no end date. Maximum cumulative amount, if you have the contract that I will not pay more than 500 US dollar in one invoice, so that you can also put it here. So system will break that invoice and will put it onto the other one. The currency, and this is very important, this is the recurrence pattern. For this recurrence pattern, for example, if I select daily and put here 15, so after every 15 days system will create the invoice for me. If I put here as 5, so system will put the invoice or create the invoice after every 5 days. Here we are discussing about monthly invoices, so I will say month and 1, and I will click on save. So now to create the invoice, you need to again go back onto your accounts payable module, invoices, recurring invoice, and generate vendor recurring invoice. When I click on this generate invoices, you need to select the invoice date, from which date you want to create the invoices for this particular exercise that you are going to do. Maybe you are doing it for the current month, maybe you want to do it for the prior months, so you can select it from here. The generation date will automatically come as today. If you want to change, I will just change it for 31st of this month. And the template, so whatever suppliers are associated with this particular template will be catered into this action, and the invoices will be created for this particular template that we are selecting. You can run it in batch also if you want to run it for a specific supplier. Maybe you have some suppliers associated with this template, but you want to run it for a specific supplier, so that also can be done from here. Then you can click OK. So system is saying that some invoices has been created. Now to see this and to post those invoices, again you need to go under accounts payable, invoices, recurring invoice, and post pending vendor invoices. This is the one that system has just created for us. If I click on this, you can see there are 3 invoices that system has created. And if you remember, we selected the invoice date or the generation date from 1st of January 2024, and right now we are standing in the month of March, and the recurring pattern or the recurrence pattern was selected as 1 per month. So we have 3 invoices here. To verify this thing, we'll go under accounts payable and pending vendor invoices. When we go under pending vendor invoices, let's go back. Sorry, I forgot the vendor name. I will click here, and this is my vendor account. Let's go back now under pending vendor invoices. So here you can see 16-1, 2 and 3, which means it has been broken down into two. So you can see here for 31st of January, the first of the invoice, then 29th of February, which is the leap year this year, and then 31st of March. And now three invoices are created. If you want to see, you can go on any of the invoice. Let's say if the date is already selected here as 1st of January, site you need to define, and you need to click on post. Once this invoice is posted, obviously it will be transferred onto your supplier transaction. So here now it is posted. If I now go on to the supplier side, see the transactions. So this is the invoice which has now been posted with 262.5, because there was a taxation also. If I want to see the voucher, right now I cannot see it because there is under subledger under GL module. If I go under GL, my periodic task, and if I see the subledger transfer, this transaction is standing here right now. I'll put it under transfer, and now if I hit the refresh button, so 250 is my actual amount, 12.5 is my VAT, which is 5% of 250, and the vendor balance is been increased by 262.5. So this is basically how you can create the invoices on the basis of recurrence. It is as same as you're creating for the customer, but it was available previously only for the customer side. But now Microsoft has released this good feature for the supplier side also. I hope this helped you in one of the new learning of D365, and keep on supporting, and let's now wait for the new session. Thank you.